over these quiz questions. I hope you're paying attention to, God bless, I hope you're paying attention to where you might have gone wrong. Because when I graded papers on people, one of the things that struck me is that we've been over these mistakes a number of times. And I used the analogy the other day, I forget if it was in this class, the other class, or both, where if I put $50 on your desk and said to you, hey, come on, get this right next time, the $50 is yours, we both know you'd be making that $50. But when you come in making that same mistake over and over again, that's not a good thing. So, this goes in the garbage, this comes up to the board. Let's go over this, and then we got another day of multi-step equations. These multi-step equations are so important that we're doing them for, I think, 4 or 5 days, and then we'll have a series of quizzes that are based on these multi-step equations, where probably 2 quizzes in a row, we just learn how to do multi-step equations, get really, really good at it. Okay, so, without any further ado, the first 2 questions tried to see if you were able to deal with or recognize little things about exponents. There's a big difference between these 2 questions. And it's all involved or understood through the order of operations. I want to do the second one first. This means to square -7. It's in the parentheses, so I squared the whole thing. So this is -7 times -7, which is 49. The first one does not mean that. In order for it to mean that, I needed to put the parentheses around the -7. When there's no parentheses around it, it means square the 7, do 7 times 7, then negate the answer. Do the squared only refers to the 7. 7 times 7 is 49, and then I can't forget about that negative sign out in front, negate it, and you get -49. So number 1 is -49, number 2 is +49. One thing I can say for those people who like to just kind of remember a rule, anytime you have a number that's in parentheses and you're going to square it, it will always be positive. Because you're going to get a positive times a positive, or a negative times a negative. And as we did here, when I multiply by a negative, I have to change the first sign, so it's always going to come out positive. Okay, the next one was really pretty simple. Just about everybody in the room got it right. 4n minus 3 is 25. The answer is 7. Now I want to talk about number 4. We've done questions like this now for quite a while. And we're better, but we're still not where we need to be. Divide coefficients, subtract exponents. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Subtract exponents. 8 minus 5 is 3. So I get 3/8 to the third. Now, 3 minus 3 is 0. There's 2 ways to look at this. 3 ways, really. Anything divided by itself is 1. And then 1 times 3/8 to the third is just 3/8 to the third. Another way is to just say die. And the last way would be to write b to the 0. The problem with that is b to the 0 is not simplified. It's not broken down completely. What is anything to the 0 power? 1. So then this would become a 1, and 3/8 to the third times 1 is just 3/8 to the third. So even though 3/8 to the third b to the 0 is correct, it's not expressed properly. So we have to express it properly. You know, I've used the analogy before that I'm not a fan of President Obama.
Why?
There's a lot of reasons why. But if President Obama walked through the door, I would address him as Mr. President, sir. Because the position demands that kind of respect. So even though I might not approve of his policies, I actually think he's probably a good guy in a lot of ways. The position demands respect. Kind of like, you know, an adult in the building, it's Mr. or Mrs. Even if the adult in the building's an idiot, it's still Mr. or Mrs. Well, we don't put b to the 0 there, because that's just not how we put in a mathematical expression, unless it says to do that. Yes?
Is it okay if you put b to the 1?
It's not okay if you put b to the 1, because b to the 1 is not what it's equal to. If I subtract exponents, 3 minus 3 is 0. It's not 1. If this was a 2, then I would put b to the 1. Okay. Next up. We did great on this one too. 3x to the 5th times 7x squared. 3 times 7 is 21. Add exponents, 21x to the 7th. We're looking really good on that. And likewise, you guys did recognize product means multiply. And a lot of kids did 8 times 10 to the 9th times 4 times 10 to the 5th. And first of all, a lot of people got this right. Michael, we need your head in the game. You're awful distracted today. A lot of kids did get this question right, but some people almost got it right. And we want to finish the problem. We want to get it right all the way through. 8 times 4 is 32. Add exponents. 9 plus 5 is 14. So I get 32 times 10 to the 14. But there's a problem, Josh.
It's 32 is bigger than 10.
Right, 32 is above 10, so I need to divide by 10 here, and then I balance that out by multiplying by 10, which is 10 to the 1 there. So I get 3.2, that was the moving of the decimal, times 10 to the 15. And some of you are getting as far as the red step, but you're not taking it to the black step. And it's really important that you understand, I can't, when I have scientific notation, I cannot express my final answer with a 32. Just like I cannot express b to the 0 in my final answer. There's just a certain level of being proper that you should do. As a teacher, I won't wear a t-shirt to school. I mean, I might if it was like your team day, like, you know, support your team, but I just think that I have a responsibility to look professional. So I'll wear a tie, or maybe a really nice polo on a Friday, but you dress to respect the position that you're in. Okay? Yes?
Wait, but why do the other teachers wear like their jersey or no?
Jerseys are okay, because that's a school spirit thing.
Yeah.
It's not like they're wearing it because that's what they're choosing to
If they
wear.
wear it like every Wednesday,
Like
if
every
it's
other
emphasis like a black jersey, like,
Right, it's a school spirit thing. I never bought one of those jerseys.
why?
I don't really know. It's just, it's not something I think about. Like if I went home in September and said, oh man, we gotta go get jerseys, I'd probably go buy one. But now, I have. This is the coolest thing. Right now, after today, I have 343 teaching days left until my teaching career is over.
No way. What?
Yeah, 343 teaching days left.
That's
At the end of next year, I retire.
That's messed up.
So,
No.
what messed up? It's beautiful.
That's not.
So,
Kids could be there.
no, I won't. So what happens is, at this point, I don't know that I want to go out and buy a jersey just so that I can wear it a handful of times between. I have 75 more school weeks to go, or 74 more school weeks to go, some of which don't have Wednesdays in them. So I wouldn't wear them on those weeks, so maybe there's 70 left to go. I think I can do it out. I think I can live without. All right, so this is everything that you just saw on that board.
Buy one so you remember.
In all honesty, we've done it a bunch. And if you don't know how to get those answers right, for the most part, other than careless mistakes here or there, you have made a conscious decision that it's not important enough to you to learn. Now here's the problem. Life is unforgiving. Have you ever like noticed in like I love to watch like Nat Geo and Animal Planet and stuff like that, and they'll put like specials on about wolves hunting prey or lions, tigers, stuff like that.
And bears.
Yes.
I'm
And
taped and I'm cut.
if you've ever noticed, nature is
Beautiful.
oh, it's a lot of things. Beautiful is one, but it's also unforgiving. And if you are a gazelle in Africa and you wander away from the herd, particularly if you're a young gazelle or you're not that fast,
You dead.
you're done. It's over. My friend Jeff was telling me the other day, he's a fly fishing captain, he was saying that there's this rock they call Rage Rock. It's on the North Shore off of, I think it's off of Rocky Point. And he goes out to Rocky Point, he's fishing off of Rage Rock, and he said there was a school of anchovies. The Rage Rock is huge, it's like the size of a minivan. And on top of Rage Rock was this school of anchovies, packed super tight. Packed so super tight they changed the color of the water.
Wait, on top?
On top of the, now there was water on top of the rock too.
Oh.
But they were trying to use the rock to get away from enemies, so the enemies couldn't swim below them and attack them. But he said, if he just took a fly and casted it to the rock and pulled it off the rock, as soon as his fly, which is like a lure, as soon as it came off the rock, it got nailed by either a striped bass, a bluefish, or an elk.
Oh, wow.
Every single cast for 3 hours.
Oh, my God.
And what those bait fish knew was that if they left away, they were getting eaten. And that's what I mean about nature being unforgiving. Now, you know, you're in the hardest spot because you live this life where mom and dad provide a house for you, somebody else pays for your food, somebody else is getting you your clothes. Everything, for the most part, not everything, but the most of the things you have are provided for you. Well, about 10 years from now, that'll not happen
Bless
anymore.
you.
God bless. About 10 years from now, you're gonna provide for yourself. And it's the same exact idea about being unforgiving. If you're late on your rent, do you think your landlord cares why?
No. I mean, yeah.
It's irrelevant. If you go to the supermarket and you go to pay for food, and you put your card through and it's rejected because you haven't paid your bills, do you think that the people in the store are gonna say, oh, go ahead, keep it?
No.
No.
Not a chance. They're taking the food back, and you're going hungry. So it is an unforgiving world out there for people, but you being children, you're kind of protected and sheltered from this, which is a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you need to develop habits now that'll make you successful then, and that's one of the really good things that school does. Okay, so, quick on the do it here. What's anything to the 0 power? 1 plus, now this is a little tricky. 3 times a negative exponent.
Same
Sir,
operation.
Same operation.
Excuse me?
Now, the exponent of negative 3 only refers to the 4. It doesn't involve the 3. So, that's 1 over 4 to the 3rd. Now, that's 1 plus 3 times 4 to the 3rd power is 64. 4 times 4 is 16, times another 4 is 64. And what's 1 plus 3? So I get 4 and 164. Okay? Now, very similar to before. Multiply coefficients, boys, add exponents. 7 times 7, 49, times negative 5 and negative 3 make negative 8. But, we just went over this, there's a problem. What's the problem? Yes? 49 is bigger than 10. So, I have to divide by 10. Now follow me on this, because now we're getting some negative numbers here. Divide by 10. So to balance that off, I need to multiply by 10. This becomes 4.9 times, now, negative 8 and positive 1, oh, sorry, I have to put the 10 there, make negative 7. And this reminds me, there were 1 or 2 people on the quiz who did the coefficient right. And they put the correct exponent, but they forgot to write the 10.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Anytime you have scientific notation, you're always going to put the 10 there. It's part of the format. It's part of the format of scientific notation. Okay, so then we get into some equations, some multi-steppers. And this is what we have been working on. This is what we've been working on for the last few days. So, when it comes to multi-step equations, we've talked about if you see a number outside of parentheses, we need to distribute. Same side?
Same operation.
Opposite side?
Opposite operation.
You ever watch quarterback play football?
Yes.
You got Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, Ryan Fitzgerald, Eli Manning. You got them all walking up behind the center. They walk up like a Western.
except the Bills game.
They walk up like a Western gunslinger. They're looking over the defense. They settle in behind the center. They go, 10, 21!
What does that mean?
That's exactly it. What does it mean? Then he'll go, 52 blue, 52 blue, 80, 80, 52. And what he's saying is that he recognizes the defense. And he's saying that in order to stop the defense, watch number 52. He's going to blitz. Number 80, you have to pick up that blitz. Then he might say, 27, 27, red, red. And that might mean zone coverage. It might mean he's going to blitz. Whatever red means to a particular team. Every team has different signals. But what the quarterback's doing is he's not just walking up to the line saying, hike! He's walking up to the line and he's making sure he's got the right play call. He's making sure that what he's going to do is going to be successful against this particular defense. Now, you all know steps to solve equations. The problem is, if you do the step at the wrong time, even if you do the step properly, it doesn't matter. For instance, if the quarterback comes up to the line and he calls a play, it's called an audible, he changes it so that he's going to throw it to this particular wide receiver. And that particular wide receiver is going to run into triple coverage.
How do they know?
There's where they watch film. They watch film until they notice tendencies. So if that wide receiver is going to run into triple coverage, and that quarterback says, through the audible, I'm throwing it to him, and he fades back, and he throws it into triple coverage, what is probably going to happen?
Interception.
Interception. A bad play. The other team is successful, he is unsuccessful. Likewise, when you do these equations, if you pick the wrong strategy, you're done. You're not getting it right. You need to understand the right thing to do at the right time. So, the first question we always ask ourselves every single time, the first thing we ask ourselves every single time we look at an equation, just like the quarterback going up, getting ready to get the high, snapping the ball. You look at this and you ask, are the variables or the numbers on the same side? Is anything here on the same side? Yes. Same side?
Same operation.
What is 6 ends minus 2 ends?
4 N.
4 ends. Now, this is a little different. We haven't done too much of this. Here's numbers on the same side. I have 3 and minus 4. What's 3 and negative 4? Or I'm sorry, 7 minus 4. What's 7 minus 4?
3.
Positive 3 is
Gave us the
15.
answer.
Why are we packing up? Get your paper back out. You did the same thing the other day. Now, minus 3, die. 4n equals 12. Divide by 4, n equals 3. So once you pick the right strategy, it's easy to make the play. The problem is if you pick the wrong strategy. Now, take a look at this one. Just like the quarterback coming up to the line. Are the variables on the same side or are they on opposite sides?
Opposite.
Opposite side?
Opposite operation.
This is the second most deadly type of problem in the whole world. When they'll bite from this beauty, you're a goner.
Oh no.
This is a positive 2h. I do negative 2h. 5h minus 5 equals, and here's your danger mode. What kind of 15 is that?
What?
Negative.
It's a negative. I got a peek in front. Don't forget to put the negative there. Add 5 to both sides. Die. 5h is negative 10. Divide by 5, h is negative 2. Now, we take a look at the next one. What do you notice in the next problem? Number 8. You're gonna learn it or not. Number outside parentheses. What do I automatically do? Distribute. Good. So that'll be 8x minus 12. Oh, look. These guys are on the same side. If I have 33 negatives and 3 more negatives, what do I have altogether? Negative 36. Nice. Add 12. Add 12. Die. 8x is negative 24. Divide by 8. X is negative 3. I really wish we had had about 3 more minutes today to do these last 3 questions. And because some of you guys talk, sit down. And because some of you guys allowed yourself to be distracted from the task at hand, you're not getting those 3 questions to affirm what it was we did here. And that's not a good thing. So always remember, when you walk in the store, it's a business. We can have fun doing business, but it is business. Get it?
Yes.
You-
Get it.
I said get it, you said got it.
Good.
I got his house.
Got it.
I got his house. I can't get house.
Sorry, I got